No one could have lived through a fall like this.
Shaw said to bring back the body.
Yeah. Oh well, come on. Let's find an easier way down.
Hi everybody, this is my review of Logan, starring Hugh Jackman, directed by James Mangold, released by Marvel Studios, 2017. This review is going to be full of spoilers, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, switch it off, go to the cinema, come back, switch it back on, comment down below what you think. Let's get started. I'm going to start off straight away by saying I give Logan 3.5 stars. I think that's a pretty good score, 3.5 out of 5. I think the movie was expertly made. It was really grisly, lots of great action. It was notably darker in tone than a lot of the previous X-Men based films. I think it moves along at a really fast pace and hits just the right notes at just the right times to be a fun and enjoyable experience for cinema goers. However, ultimately I was a little bit let down by just how formulaic it was. It's overuse of tropes, which led to predictability, and I really think there was a lack of bold direction. That left the film feeling just a little too anodyne, a little too safe, and I probably won't be adding it to my own personal film collection, as much as I did find it fun and enjoyable to watch the first time around. Logan starts off great. When I was growing up, I remember I used to watch I loved the X-Men cartoons, 8 a.m. on a Monday to Friday. I'd be watching it every day, being late for school because of it, and it used to bother me even then that Wolverine would never use his claws on live sentient beings. He would only ever use his claws on Sentinels, or on robots, or turning Cyclops' car into a convertible, stuff like that. And that always used to bother me. And from the very beginning of this film, you can see, well, it does not take that tact. It's very grisly. It's really bloody, and it was awesome. It was a great. I loved watching it. I loved seeing it, and it was done really well, pretty tastefully too. I might say, for considering how gruesome it actually was. The film does a wonderful job of portraying Logan not only as a reluctant hero, but basically a reluctant anything. This is a guy who's really not happy with who he is, his place in life, and just you see how tormented he is. But that ultimately he is innately good, and that slowly comes out through the first part of the film as it's building up intrigue. And we've always known that Logan is a good character, but a seriously flawed anti-hero. This is important for later in the movie as well, the fact that he's this reluctant hero. I really felt like, based on the start of this movie, that it might actually really live up to its billing, to what people were saying about it, to the trailer, which was awesome. And it's like I'm not actually that big of a fan of the Marvel films. I feel like I've been let down too many times by they're just a little too formulaic, and they're just a little too safe generally. And I saw the trailer for this movie, and I was like, yes, this actually looks really cool, and it's got Johnny Cash playing. So I couldn't wait to see it, and I saw it, and I'd say the first half of the movie just absolutely killed it. I really, really loved it. I thought it was going to be a much more personal and gritty story rather than an over-the-top kill fest. And for the first half of the movie, that's really what it felt like. There was some over-the-top killing, but it was much more focused on that personal story of Wolverine. Unfortunately, the movie descends into what I call Marvelization. This is a concept I use to refer to movies that start off with a really interesting concept, but ultimately they unravel into a bit of a boring CGI action fest, into a perfunctory ending. I think this is best exemplified in the movie Avengers: Age of Ultron, which I thought it started off so well. There was a lot of intrigue. Ultron is introduced, and he's played by James Spader doing his best Tom Waits impression, and I was like, yes! But by the end of the movie, I was literally falling asleep. I almost walked out on it, because it was just like, how many robots do you need to kill? You know, why is Hulk even in this movie? Blah, 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 blah. This isn't a review of Age of Ultron. I'm sorry about that. It's a review of X-Men. but it's kind of emblematic. It's not as bad as Age of Ultron. This is a much better film. I did enjoy it. 3.5 stars is a good score. But the second half, it was a bit of a downward slide. And I think that's emblematic of having a really, like, they start with great characters and great stories, but there's a lot of pressure on the director and the producers and the studio to make, $400 million every time one of these films releases. So they've got to play a little bit safe. Kind of feels like they lose their artistic direction, in my opinion. That doesn't mean the movies can't be enjoyable. It just means, for me personally, they're never going to be truly satisfying. So, well, I guess, let me talk about my biggest complaint of the film, because this is what, this will explain to you pretty much exactly what my thoughts are. And let me stress again, I do enjoy the film. I was just a little bit let down by how safe it played it. So, here's what I would change about the film and how it could serve to tighten up and basically improve the entire second half, while simultaneously being bold, being subversive, and just really following through on a true artistic vision. I would deny Logan his catharsis, deny him his happy ending, his relief in death. So what would happen? There is no Eden. They show up. There's no other children are there. So straight away, it's much less happy. It's much less well, I wouldn't say satisfying, but it's already much darker and more depressing in tone. I'd even remove X-24 as the chief antagonist, and I'd elevate the role of Pierce, I think. It was really strange. So they were building up Pierce. He's obviously going to be the bad guy. They introduce the Doctor, and then bam, there's this, twist. And X-24 is in the movie, and suddenly they stop developing Pierce. He's just sort of relegated to the sidelines. And now they have this X-24 character. But if we remove X-24, basically we can remove the entire segment of the film where Logan and co. meet and befriend, the family of farmers. The entire point of this section was basically to introduce X-24. But it was painfully predictable. As soon as they invite Logan and co. over, the immediate reaction I had was, yeah, they dead. They're definitely going to die. And as soon as the boy, the scene where they have the iPod, or whatever it is, future iPod, and she's listening, and he says something like, I'll get it back off you tomorrow after you've listened to it. Oh, man, that guy's very dead. So, yeah, I'd end the film with Logan and Laura fighting Pierce, probably. Laura would probably be a lot less powerful as well in the movie. Have Logan and Laura fight Pierce. Pierce is a human, so Logan being weak and Laura being young, it kind of makes it a much more even fight. Pierce is enhanced, he's going to have technology. And I don't think Laura should be as ridiculously strong as she is. I think one Wolverine is enough. But this movie gave us three Wolverines. It's kind of like they finally figured out that Wolverine was their most popular character, and they're just like, let's triple it. Let's put 3 of them in. They'll love it. That'll sell so many tickets. Don't get me wrong, I love Wolverine. I think he's probably the best character. I'm no Marvel aficionado. I think he's probably the best character in the Marvel universe. Or he's certainly the most popular. So, I like Wolverine. I think the way they did it with the 3 Wolverines, it was okay, but a little too much, a little too cheap. In the fight where, after Xavier dies, likely because... Oh, sorry. I misread my notes. So during the fight, that's probably when I would have Xavier die, and probably because Logan has drugged him and he's sort of defenseless and can't help the party. So it would probably be Logan's fault that Xavier dies. First of all, for taking this girl on this journey. So he was reluctant. He didn't want to take the girl on the journey. He didn't think Eden existed, but he relented because he's innately a good person, right? So he takes her on the journey. There is no Eden. Everyone's disappointed. His one attempt at being a father figure, what he says, he's no good at this, that's why he wants to leave. It sort of fails. Then Pierce chases them down because he alone has found the note with the address on it, or with the coordinates on it. Xavier dies because of this. Maybe Laura dies, maybe not. That's kind of irrelevant which one it was. It depends on which way you want to go as an artist. But regardless, I think the movie should end with Logan walking off into the sunset alone. Possibly about to die, but certainly about to live out the rest of his life with the torment that his death would have relieved him of. Living with the knowledge that he has hurt or killed everyone he has cared for, which was a recurring theme throughout this movie. And the one last time that he attempted to be good also resulted in the death of the people who are now closest to him, and Xavier, who arguably is the most important figure in his life. And I wouldn't even show his death. I think, it can be implied that he's dying, he's going to die. You can leave in the part that he's poisoned and dying, but don't show his death. I think that would be so powerful. And it would be really interesting to just sort of... I have an image. Let me just pop it up. This is my dodgy editing. Because... Oh, it's on the wrong side. It's over this side now. So... If anyone remembers the cartoon, there's this scene where they travel into the future and they see Wolverine's skeleton. And for me, that was such a powerful way of doing it. They don't show his death. They don't show this climax. Because to me, Logan has always been a really tragic figure. And they emphasize it in this movie. He's carrying a lot of pain. He's a really flawed individual. And giving him this what they did in the film, where the ending they gave him, where he took this magic potion, suddenly he's powerful, and he comes back to save the day after saying, he can't help them, he doesn't want to help her. He comes back, takes his magic potion, he kills so many people, saves the day, and he gains his redemption. And he gains this release in death. And it's actually he dies, but it's a happy ending because it's that release. That's his catharsis. And I think it's a disservice to the character of Wolverine. And I think it's kind of uninspired. It's really, really trite. Imagine if he lived, if everybody, that's where Xavier dies and he walks off into the sunset. How tragic and how powerful would that be? And this ending as well, the one I'm describing, is an absolute alley-oop, seeing as they literally played portions of the movie Shane earlier in Logan. They played part of Shane. And to have the ending of Logan mirror that of Shane, of him walking off into the sunset, that would have just been absolutely perfect to me. Because in this movie, Logan was Shane, right? That's why it's not a coincidence that they showed the movie Shane. It's a metaphor, and they're drawing parallels between the two. He's an anti-hero. He's anachronistic, whose violent tendencies can only hurt people in a world that it's no longer needed. So have him walk off into the distance. I just don't get it. Why give us this happy ending? Why give us his catharsis if it wasn't just self-flagellation and the big grand ending and leave everybody satisfied with their product? But it's not risky at all. I would have loved to have seen it. I didn't even... so I'm only going to comment briefly on some of the plot holes, or plot inconveniences, as I like to call them. For example, why is Canada such a safe haven? Why is the border to Canada, once they get there, they're safe? That's never explained in the movie. Is there a wall? Did Canada build a wall to keep the Americans out, to keep the mutants out? This is a huge multinational corporation. Dr. Nick, is that what his name? Had the funding of God knows how much, but he had paramilitary, he had all these massive weapons. They had no problem traversing the border from Mexico to US. Why is Canada a safe haven? Another one, why is the adamantium bullet so much more deadly than adamantium claws from a super powerful mutant. I didn't really get that. There's a few others as well that kind of popped off the top of my head at the moment. But, having said all of this, overall I did enjoy the film. It sounds like I'm doing a lot of complaining. All that is saying how I would have liked to have seen the movie go on. I think it would have been a really bold and brave choice and really left people thinking. And I think for long term as well, it doesn't just add tension to, or add intrigue and interest to this ending. If they're willing to make a brave choice with their characters now, it means in future movies there's always a chance the movie's gonna play out in some unexpected way. The audience will always be wondering, ooh, is it really gonna be a happy ending? There's a kind of, they're building something up there. But the way the movie's made now, even the complaints I have, they're tempered by the expert crafting of the movie. Yes, it was predictable and cheap in places, but it was thematically consistent and it was very well streamlined. So, the innocent family's death was a cheap emotional pop and predictable, but it does reinforce how everyone that Logan cares for dies. Wolverine, X-24 as the big bad villain, it's kind of lazy, it's kind of not that interesting. It's a third version of the same character in the same movie, screaming and killing things. But it's also obviously a metaphor for Logan's internal struggle. Okay, we get it. But it's just not as interesting as they would have hoped. But you can see how it's been crafted so all the elements sort of fit together. So those are my thoughts on the movie. Absolutely go check it out. If you like action movies and you like the X-Men franchise, it's really fun to watch on the big screen with all the action and have everyone else around you. It's funny. The characters are good, especially Wolverine and X-24. They're the ones who get the most development in this movie. Go watch it. You will enjoy it. But for me, ultimately, it was good but forgettable. I won't be adding it to my personal collection, but you might really love it. I know a lot of people who really loved it. So comment down below if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me. How would you change the ending? Do you agree with my assessment? How would you like my ending? Stuff like that. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.